Fury Zero News, still taking a bit of time away, so very lo-fi video. But an important point. This is obviously my humble opinion, but I still think it warrants some thought, considering I think it's kind of common sense in some ways. We keep saying that the police protect the foreigners and more importantly, the people who commit the crimes, and especially if they come from certain hotels and places like that. Why? Why would they hide grooming gangs and things like that? Why would people do this kind of thing? And up till now, we've said it's because they fear being called racist. And I think there's plenty of truth to that, and I would not dismiss that at all because I've seen it, seen evidence for that. So yes, definitely that's played a massive part over the years. But why are the police going out and protecting things? But in certain cases, it is kind of their job, right? But you've noticed they're not coming out and protecting, say, white British people. Or believe it or not, even like a black straight couple is getting very different treatment now from what they used to because of the dominant forces. So I submit to you, considering how many of you said in my chats that you knew that our country had been sold off to various other ones, and you knew what it would require to get it back. So because you know that, I won't go into all the details and stuff. So when people question why the police go and protect the foreign criminals, they're actually being sent to protect the people who own this land, aren't they? When you think of it like that, they're a police force protecting the people. Yeah, we're just so, because there is a fine line. You've got to be careful not ever to let racism creep in because you're feeling angry. But I've seen so much evidence over the last few days, or I just watched a lot of videos where, I went back to watch that Jesse Lee Peterson, and I haven't seen his stuff for a while, but it really just does show how guilty so many of us are for just being us, and it's frightening. And anyway, tell me. I don't actually. I'm sorry. I was going to end it up to make it as short, but no. Why am I doing that? Yeah, and so the Jesse Lee Peterson, made me realise that you know still so many white people are. He was just asking. I know it's America, but he was asking men about doing a. Obviously, he's done like you may know, a Black History Month every July for the last 8 years now. I think 8, 9 years. Sorry, White History Month. Did I say that? And he goes and asks black people and all sorts of people what they think about it. And what you find is like a lot of the black people would say hell no and fuck that and fuck you, and the white people will head to the ground and no, 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 no. Why do we need that? So we can remember colonialism, or they're just scared to say, even if they're not bothered by the idea, they're scared to say it. But Black History Month, Japanese History Month, everything else, they're fine saying any one of those. Like there's a really, really subtle racism, and I've got to be careful what I say because I don't want to stoke racial tensions. Just want to remind people if they're not aware, if they are aware, and tell people if they're not. Hey, Sue. Sorry, having a dog and doing a podcast that you're not editing is a nightmare. Never work with children and animals, right? Or even have them in the fucking background. Anyway, so yeah, noticing this trend with this Jesse Lee Peterson made me realise as well that there's such a subversive kind of racism being aimed at us right now. That it drains white English. I mean, some people will already be aware of this, but it drains white English people of their culture, of their beliefs, of their even to not that any of us, we were never brought up to be proud of skin color, but nearly every other race was. For instance, there's so much about us that people won't admit to, but I've seen it even on our marches that we've done, where we're so desperate to show that we're not racist, we can overdo it. I've seen it. I've seen it, and some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen it. You will have seen it yourself. We overextend ourselves sometimes, almost look desperate. Sorry about this. It's not what you think. And so I do question the hearts of white people in this country, not because they're weak, but because they've been racially attacked and they don't even know it. They think they're being, what's the word? They think they're being, I can't think what the word is, open-minded, and they're actually being blind to that attack in some cases. And ironically, for some, not for others, not for me, no surprise to me, the one race that I see that, except on the left, that would stand up for us is black people, directly black people, more than any other. I think that's because they've melded with our culture so much more. So many of them know our culture so well that they'd fight for this country just as quick as every single one of us. To me, I can't think of all these other cultures that we praise in this country, and colours and everything else and backgrounds. I honestly think that black people would actually be the only people I would rely on to fight for us and for this country. They don't want to see any more of this. They're the only people that push back against this this idea of replacing us, for instance. Only people. And we've got to realise that our country's been sold out from underneath us. These people have put us in this position where it's taken our confidence away, and we don't even realise that how much it has, because it's been a very clever, subversive racial attack. And the only people that seem to see it, believe it or not, are black people, black conservatives more specifically. The irony is kind of thick in some cases, but more to the point, our country's been sold out, and we need to really understand this, acknowledge this, and also this answers so many questions as to why the police take the stances they take, why they're told to do the things that they do, why they always take the same side. But again, it's just my opinion, and it's just I'm submitting it to you. Tom Fury, Zero News, call it a day for now.